Okay, let's talk about Peacemaker Season 2 as it's finally wrapped up, and in particular, let's talk about the finale, and then we'll get a little bit later into about the series as a whole. But for this finale, there were several things revealed that I feel like definitely need to be discussed. But first of all, just the quality of this episode, I feel like was much better than all the previous episodes. I think this is my favorite episode probably by far. I think the writing and the directing was a lot better. This episode was written and directed by James Gunn, but I think all the other episodes were written by James Gunn, so I don't necessarily think that's what made it better. But I think this episode, in comparison to previous episodes, where this episode had a lot more was a lot more story driven, a lot more character driven, and didn't necessarily sacrifice some of these moments for gags as previous episodes had. And I feel like that felt so much better. I actually liked this episode, where I feel like in the other episodes I really haven't liked him too much. And start off with John Cena's Peacemaker. As in every episode, I think he did tremendously here. I think this episode in particular, he really shines with his emotional range and just with his acting capabilities. I think he's such a great actor, and I like seeing him in pretty much every project. I think he's a lot of fun. I like seeing the more just everything on the table with Amelia Harcourt and what's been going on with her. I still think towards the beginning of the season, I'm still not a huge fan of her, but I do think now seeing the season as a whole, I would probably not rate this show as harshly. I still by no means think this is a great or probably even good show, but I definitely think it's better upon this and thinking back on it. But I don't think I'll ever take the time to sit down and rewatch it unless I really, really want to. To me, the star of this season, besides John Cena, surprisingly, the shining star is Economos. I loved him throughout the entire series, surprisingly. I loved how he's always standing up for Chris, even though, as they said in this episode, he's the biggest coward ever. I really liked that. This episode felt a lot more natural with these characters. The direction they're going in, the dialogue, even the development felt great. I like seeing Vigilante this season. Hasn't really been too heavy with him, and that's okay. I like seeing him here, having a lot more natural, casual conversations, rather than just being more for gimmicky while still having some of the gimmicky comedic stuff later in the episode where it fit. I love that. Ads, I think, was well done in this episode as before. There were a lot of scenes that were just kind of just thrown in, but I liked seeing the conclusion to it. And again, I think upon a rewatch, I will enjoy those scenes just a little bit more. And I do like her more in this season as she is pretty much Chris's actual best friend. And I do like the relationship and the dynamic that they have. I've said this all season, and despite saying it all season, I don't think I've said it enough. Fuck Rick Flag Sr. Worst character. Frank Grillo does an amazing job. Disclaimer. Great job. It's just, I hate watching it. I hate watching him become a puppet for Lex Luthor. He's getting manipulated like no one's business. And I think he's so unprofessional. I think it's crazy that the U.S. government put him in charge. He was way too close to this, and I think it's just crazy that he got away with it all. I do like, though, that Lex is manipulating him, and we are seeing a lot more of that. And I'll get a little bit more into what's actually being set up for Man of Tomorrow towards the end of the video, but I do like that part. That part was good. God, he fucking sucks. Honestly, part of me kind of thinks he got body switched. It wouldn't surprise me, just as like a piece of potential that some redemption for the character, as right now there is absolutely no redeeming him. It is fucking crazy what he's doing. He is using government resources for his own personal gains, and he is just running one of the world's best intelligence agencies into the ground. They are a fucking joke. And with that, and with his plan of being manipulated by Lex, we get Salvation. Now, there is a comic run in DC Comics called something very similar. It's called Salvation Run, and it was a 7-issue series where, very similarly, the world's metahumans are sent off-world, not to a different dimension as it is in this one, but just off-world. And on this planet of theirs, they are awaken a much more mechanical planet that does look kind of similar to the one that we saw, with a bunch of mechanical killer beasts that are kind of the experiments of Desaad. For those who don't know, Desaad is one of the disciples of Darkseid, who's think Thanos for DC. And I don't necessarily know if they're going to go that route for this, though. I think with the route that they're going for, and based off of the sounds, although for the sounds that were given, could either go killer beasts mechanical killer beasts, or Dinosaur Island. And what Dinosaur Island is exactly what it sounds like. If you're familiar with Marvel Comics, think Savage Land, but it's essentially just an island that's still inhabited by dinosaurs. Kind of like what the land that time forgot, but of course, and this is a completely different dimension, where I guess the meteor would never hit, and there's just dinosaurs living there. And one thing that's also with the Salvation run that we did get in this episode is Checkmate. Given this Checkmate is very different from how it is in the comics. In the comics, Checkmate is founded by Amanda Waller, and it's another government agency, but it is an independent branch of the Suicide Squad. And some of the more famous members that you may recognize besides Waller would be Green Lantern, Alan Scott, and Maxwell Lord, where they're essentially just another piece of the puzzle to help all these foreign influences just get into what Waller wants. And they are the ones who started the Salvation run, who put all of these criminals on Salvation. However, of course, we're seeing it very different, where Salvation may actually be more of a superhero spy team, which I kind of dig. We'll see how that plays along. And I think with Salvation, it is going to be solved in Superman Man of Tomorrow. So Lex Luthor is obviously masterminding all of this. We can agree on that, yeah? He wants this almost utopian world to put all the metahumans, because he really doesn't want them anywhere near him. They ruin all of his plans. He's very prejudiced against them. And I think, given Superman, if he finds out about this, he's going to have something to say about it. Or pretty much any superhero finds out about it. But I think we're probably going to get some sort of involvement with Salvation in Man of Tomorrow in some way, shape, or form. And with Man of Tomorrow, odds are we're getting the villain of Brainiac. And I can definitely see this being necessary given Brainiac collecting people and pretty much who else are they going to turn to besides some villains. It's possible. We'll see. I mean, honestly, Superman probably wouldn't need the help. But there are other shows they can definitely continue the Salvation plot line in. It's kind of been halted. I don't think it's been canceled. I don't know if it's been canceled for sure yet, but there's The Authority. I don't think the Lantern show is really going to touch on it. Maybe a little bit with Who Killed Alan Scott. But there's definitely a lot of potential with Salvation and then Man of Tomorrow. Overall, I think the finale was good or great. I kind of don't know for sure yet. But I think as a finale itself, it was a little bit anticlimactic. But I think that's just in comparison to like the couple of recent episodes. I'm happy with how it happened, but the entire season felt very disconnected from this one episode where it's just a stepping stone. I mean, this project just feels like a stepping stone to something else, and I hate that. I hate how projects have kind of only like a couple episodes that really matter, and it's just a stepping stone for a different one, and that's just really how it feels here. But I am happy with how it ended, and it does make me want to see more, and does make me want to see more from DC and James Gunn, which honestly is a win. I know that many of you have been enjoying this show, and that's totally okay. I am glad that DC is succeeding with more people, because it really hasn't for a long time. And if I don't enjoy it, but most people do, I'll take it. That's a win in my book, as that means DC gets to continue, and that's all I want. And I am so excited to see DC continue. At the moment, the next DC project is going to be Supergirl, but odds are Lantern could squeeze in there, as there's not currently a release date for it, and it could easily air sometime early next year before Supergirl. But if not, I am still super stoked for Supergirl. That is currently one of my most anticipated projects of next year. And let me know what you thought about the Peacemaker season finale. And if you're a big fan of DC as I am, you can check out my review for Superman right now.